Check. Mic check. Got him? Is your mic on? All right. Well, don't stand so close. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight to Society Talks. My name is John H. Dixon III. I am the chairman. And today we have with us Mr. Kareem Boudry, the developer.
Well, guys.
Kareem comes to us with a background in real estate and development. He sits on our board here. He is also my real estate and development agent. And he is going to talk to you all tonight about various topics in real estate and development. And the floor now goes to Mr. Kareem Boudry, guys.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming in. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take a page out of the chairman's book, and everybody can introduce themselves, starting from over here. Just state your name and your industry.
Oh, okay. My name is Alexis, and I'm in real estate.
Awesome.
I am Inolana, and I'm in government.
Okay. Awesome.
I'm Asami. I am a business consultant.
I'm Natalia. I'm a new realtor, hoping to get some insights
Awesome.
on lead pool from this.
Cool, cool.
I'm Brian Terry. I'm a business consultant.
We met you yesterday.
Edgar Martinez, and I'm a loan officer.
Renta Alexander. I'm a residential redeveloper.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Residential redeveloper. I rehab homes and build.
Okay, awesome. So you flip. Okay, cool.
John Dixon, chairman.
Okay, so first I just want to give you all a little background about myself and how I got into real estate. We'll start from the beginning. So I guess my first job ever, believe it or not, I used to work at Abercrombie and Fitch. I used to be in the front door saying hi to people. So that's when I was in that job, that was my first job ever. And growing up, I was always taught you got to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. Just my parents were from overseas, and they moved here when they were young, and they're in business themselves, and they were looking for me to do something more stable. So when I got into this first job in Abercrombie and Fitch, well, you're gonna laugh, but that job made me realize that I don't want to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. I don't want to work for anybody. I want to do my own thing, right? So I was really young while I was doing this, and I realized this early on, but I was still going through that path of working for somebody in the corporate world. So I was going to school for accounting and financing. I was in a dual credit program in my last 2 years of high school. So basically, as I was going out through my last 2 years of high school, every class I would take counts as a college credit. So basically knocked out, kind of skipped 2 years of college in a way. So got me pretty up there, and I was ready to go make my next move. Then stepped into university, went to UTD, and then I worked for this business management company. So I worked for a business management company, and it was a company that owned about 25 to 30 gas stations and convenience stores. I used to go around and pretty much kind of audit those stores and make sure they're doing well. If anything was going bad, I'm the guy to call, and pretty much I would hold the manager's hand, make sure that they're doing the right thing. And then I did that for probably about a year and a half, and that got me kind of, I guess, to the cliff to where I was ready to make my next move, ready to start my own business. So I was looking at different options and to see what I can do, looking around my network, see what I can, leverage in my network for my own business. Did I want to get into opening up a restaurant or retail or, open up a franchise or whatever? But, I did a little bit of research, asked some friends, and I found out that real estate was the next thing that I wanted to do. So I immediately jumped in, took my classes and everything, got my licensing. So you're in real estate, right? So who else was in real estate? You were too. So how'd you guys like the test? It wasn't that bad, right? Everybody overhyped it. I got in there really scared. Everybody was, yes, they scared the crap out of me, the test. They're like, this test, lawyers fail, doctors fail, 50% of people take it again the first time. So I'm nervous, taking all the classes. I went to Champion School of Real Estate. Did you guys go there? at all? No?
Not with the cancer.
You went to Kaplan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend that.
Champions, yeah, if anybody ever wants to take any real estate classes, I would recommend Champions School of Real Estate. So I went in there, took the classes, nervous as hell. The state and national exam comes up, and of course you do your background checks and your fingerprints. Thank God I passed that. So went through all that, and finally the test comes. I didn't do the test prep because I'm actually not, I've done this through my whole life, on all my classes. I never study the night before or the week before. I don't cram. It just doesn't work for me. It makes me nervous, it makes me forget things. I overstudy sometimes, and it just makes me tired. So for the first, I guess I would say the 3 days before the test, I did not study, did not look at any material at all. And thankfully I got a 96, and I didn't really study that much, to be honest. They blew it over proportion and said it was this crazy thing, and you're gonna fail, or you're gonna fail the first time if you don't take our prep class, because they wanted you to pay extra $200. So that went through, and I was like, yes, this is my first step into real estate. Now, what do I do? What do I do? Where do I go? Who do I join? Do I go to the Keller Williams? Do I go to RE/MAX? Do I go to a smaller brokerage, independent brokerage? What do I do? So there I did my research, asked a couple of friends, family. I went on several forums online and asked people who are in the real estate industry what I should do. A lot of them told me, join Keller Williams and join RE/MAX because they have a great training program, which is true. They do have a great training program. But I decided to risk it, and I got a call right before I was about to join Keller Williams from one of my, well, I would say he was an acquaintance at that time. He had a call. He knew I was getting into real estate. And he was like, hey, Kareem, I got my real estate brokerage. I'm about to open up our first office. This guy's been in real estate for, I think, 7 years when I got my license. And he's been doing it for a while. He's young like me. And I honestly felt more comfortable because if I was going to go to Keller Williams, it's that corporate lifestyle. I felt it was too corporate for me because, again, I'm trying to stay away from getting into that corporate environment. I've been there, and I don't like it at all. So I felt comfortable. I went and I jumped in with this guy. This guy has great experience and basically held my hand throughout the way and taught me. I'm a very quick learner. So obviously you're faced with that challenge or that question whenever you first get into real estate. Do you want to do residential or do you want to do commercial, right? So a lot of people, they get into residential because they're scared of commercial. So commercial is a whole different animal, but it is not something that you can't learn, right? So you did residential. Have you done a deal yet or anything? You advertise both?
My broker has been in commercial for 10 years.
Okay, awesome. Are you scared of getting into that commercial world, or have you studied a bit?
I actually had a client who I researched and did some commercial things. It didn't
Okay.
end up going through.
Okay.
But at least I got the experience.
But you got that experience. How about yourself? You're in residential? Both. Okay. And how long you been in it?
2 years.
2 years? Okay. So what do you do more of, residential, commercial, or? Nope.
Honestly, it's a little bit of both, multifamily.
Okay,
property
awesome.
management, commercial, everything.
And what made you decide to do both?
My boss.
Your boss, okay. Okay, awesome. So, so some people have their broker telling them what to do. My broker told me, you do whatever you want to do. He was like, this choice is ultimately left up to you. So I did kind of what you guys did. I did both, but I would market myself in a way to where I marketed more as a commercial than residential. So I would get both more deals. I would get deals of both sides for residential and commercial. I got my first $4 million deal probably in 12 months. A commercial deal. It was a gas station that I was able to because I had used my connections because I was working in that business development or business management that they were involved in gas station I was. So I knew the ins and outs, and I used that, and that's what kind of boosted me up. And from there on, it was more and more commercial deals. Oh, I get a lot of residential deals too, but I personally love commercial because it's all numbers and money and investments, right? So you don't have to really, it's all a logical deal. You don't have to deal with the emotional husband and wife, right? Yeah, you don't have to deal with the husband and wife saying, Don't get me wrong, I like it, but it requires a lot of patience. And I am not a patient person. I am the most impatient I practice patience, but I hate it. I hate practicing patience. I'm very impulsive, but I will practice it because I have to, right? I can't look bad. So, yeah, you got to practice patience. So again, the residential side, you got to, kind of put on a white glove and, mediate in the middle of husband and wife. Sometimes the wife likes something and the husband doesn't, and they're like, "Yeah, I like the color on the marble, don't you, honey?" And he's looking at me like, "What should I tell her? I don't like it." They're looking at, and then they both get me into the middle. I don't like it. It's funny, but that's why I like commercial. One of the reasons why I like commercial better. It's just more of a numbers game. It's easy. If it makes money, it makes sense. So started heavily promoting myself as doing mainly commercial from there on. Just because I realized that's what I wanted to do. And I still do residential. I get residential deals. I don't say no to any single deal. I help people who want to lease a $2,000 house a month, or whether it's like a $50,000 condo or $2 million or $10 million deal. I try to treat everybody equally and the same. And that's what you always want to do, because you never know who refers you to who, right? So I've actually had a great lead from probably a $200,000, start out house, and I took care of them very well, like I would treat John, like I would treat a millionaire, and took care of him like that, and so we'll take care of them very well, and they saw that as just you just got to be sincere, take care of your people. And that guy ended up referring me $1.5 million deal, a $1.5 million deal. So from a $200,000 deal, I got referred to that. A lot of people don't, when they're looking at these smaller transactions, they say, I'm just going to get this $200,000 house. He's not going to know anybody who's rich. He's not going to know anybody. But they may have a rich family. You never know. And that's what ended up being the case. So I got again. So when I first started, you got to market yourself very well. Obviously, you got to market everywhere. Have you guys tried? Those of you who are in real estate, what are you guys' main source of marketing? What are you guys marketing? Mailers. And yourself?
So I have social media, then doing the whole lead generation through Zillow.
Okay.
And then going to networking events.
Okay. I did so I did Zillow and Trulia, and I wasted thousands and thousands of dollars. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you straight up. If you're gonna start real estate and you're gonna get into, it's really enticing. Okay, because you get those emails, guaranteed X amount of leads and X amount of transactions. My first year, I wasted probably $15,000-$16,000 on marketing, just because I was just getting in there. My broker told me, "Hey, don't do it," but I was like, "No, I want to do it. I think it's going to work out," and he was right. So I wasted $15,000 on Trulia and Zillow, and it was the biggest waste of time. Probably got one almost deal that happened from there. So whenever you're marketing, you got to be careful. I would say one of my biggest sources of marketing is probably going to be social media. Like you said, social media. I've done mailers. I've seen decent feedback, but they take time. But my social media, accounts for probably about, I would say, 60% of my business, directly and indirectly, because it's always branding, and you're always having to drop hints. So you drop hints that, hey, every other week, or once a month. You don't want to do information overload. Some people do information overload and post every single day, every single week. People start tuning out to that. So what I learned is, hey, I'm going to drop a hint every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, and post like one of my listings, or post one of my company's listings when I got started, and say, pretty much my goal was everybody who knows me or who's around me, when they think of real estate, I want them to think Kareem, okay? And that was strategically in my first 2 years. That's all I focused on, is everybody needs to know, when they think of real estate, they need to think of Kareem. And it works out really well, because everywhere I go and meet people I haven't seen friends in a while, They're like, hey, Kareem, you're in real estate. What's up, man? I know somebody who wants to sell a house. Let me refer this person to you. And then another thing is networking, right? So you got to build relationships. You're talking about networking. I'm very big on networking, which is one of the reasons why I'm here at Business Society, because we got a really great networking platform going on. You always want to network and build relationships. So a lot of people, when they go to networking events, raise your hand if you've been to networking events besides Business Society. Okay, so what did you guys get in those networking events? Did you get like a more business, like did you feel that you made like a friend, or did you feel like you made a business contact?
Neither.
Neither? It was a waste of time, kind of? Or
I don't feel like it was a waste of time because I feel like, you know, being a new realtor, I got my name out there.
Okay.
Passed my card
Yeah,
out.
that's
So whether they
mhm.
use it or not,
Gotcha.
I still got that exposure.
How about yourself?
I feel like both.
Felt
Got
about
to
both.
interact with some people that was trying to, go on the same road I was going down.
Okay.
And some people that I met that I just continue to just kind of have
Awesome.
contact with.
Brian?
Sometimes it's worked out where, you know, at times, sometimes you meet somebody great and other times it's 50-50, but the contacts of, you know, branding yourself always works.
Okay. So when I go out and I network, I use this technique that I made up called bait, throwing in the bait and fishing. So what I do is when I meet somebody, I don't immediately talk about myself, okay? I let them do all the talking. When I meet somebody, I let them do all the talking. And a lot of the times, whenever the person does all the talking and they feed you too much information and they're giving you stuff that you never even ask questions for, you know they're not really worth talking to. So I really feed it, and
Kareem, the chairman.
well, you're a one in a dozen.
All right. It's different industry, right? Maybe in real estate. I'll say this. I'll use Business Society as
Yeah.
kind of like the platform. Naturally, people are hesitant to talk to one another. Like if I don't know you, if it's not my personality to just start talking, then you could lose out. To me, you could lose out on truly meeting somebody that's worth communicating with. And that's why here we always push people, even after our events, hey, network, meet a new friend, talk to some new people. You never know. It may be the gateway or a relationship or connection. Just like in Kareem's industry, real estate and development, it's a very strategic business, And so I can see your point of view.
Yeah.
Of, hey, sometimes too much information, you can leverage yourself, and then in certain deals, you probably not the right agent to work for or work with, but not oftentimes in real estate. Like I didn't meet Kareem at a networking event.
Nope.
Kareem was referred to me by someone, and we ended up working together. Literally, but I'm a cerebral business person, so I already had everything covered already, and it was just kind of like, all right, Kareem here. But the way he carried himself and his professional acumen and the presentation of the way he represented his company and his brand was why I wanted to work with Kareem. And so, networking, it kind of, to me, it's kind of a 50-50 thing is what I'm saying. You just never know.
Yeah, you never know. That's true. That's a good point. Thank you for that, John. But yeah, so coming back to that point of that technique that I use, just a technique that I've developed. But that shouldn't discourage you. So I felt what John got from my message. My message was not to tell you to discourage you of talking to people. Talk to everybody you can. Okay, so talk to each and every person you can, and kind of
mow lawns. Start the conversation like
start
that.
the conversation.
You know what? I actually mow lawns.
Yeah.
in houses.
Well, typically when you introduce come in confidently. Once you come in confidently, people are going to want to talk to you. It's the way you carry yourself, right? Body language is everything. So if you're sitting down at a networking event or whatever mixer you're at, and you're just on your phone and you're in the corner and you're on Facebook pretending to be busy, whatever, nobody's wanting to talk to you, right? So you need to, whenever you're at networking events, the key is to smile and be confident and to talk to as many people as you can. Make as many contacts as you can. But obviously you can feel them out when you're talking and whatnot. So what I like to do, my personal method is I like to create personal relationships. okay? I don't just like to create business relationships. I like to create personal relationships. So I get to know the person on a personal and intimate level. And it's worked for me very well. And, you know, you get invited to, you know, if you know somebody personally, you close their house, they're going to invite you to their housewarming party, you know, because they feel comfortable with you. Then you're going to meet all their friends and family, and, you know, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, this is Kareem, this is my boy, he helped me buy this house, and, you know, you're going to meet new people. So you know, getting into real estate or whatever industry you're in and you want to network, I would say go to as many events as you can, whether it's weddings, whatever you're invited to, try to make time to go, okay? Don't make yourself available as much as you can, and try to go and network and network and network. A lot of my business, besides that, online marketing, is networking and referrals. So I always try to create that personal relationship to where even if I'm losing on the deal, that person will be happy with my service, and you know, it's for a future relationship. So I always look at the long term. So another thing I want to touch about. So who here is actually looking into getting real estate that is not already in real estate? Are you guys interested just into getting into it, or you just guys want to learn about it? I'm just asking you a question for.
Just trying to get the knowledge, hear what you have to say.
Okay.
Interested in being an agent.
Interested in being an agent. Okay. So a lot of people, when they get into real estate, they think they can do it half-time or part-time. And are you guys full-time agents?
I'm not.
No? Okay. Are you guys just transitioning into full-time, seeing how it goes type of deal, or you have a full-time job?
I'm actually transitioning out of full-time.
Okay. So, and this is not just coming from me, this is coming from many successful people in the industry. If you really, truly want to be successful in real estate, you need to be in it full-time. Some people think they can do it and get in, you know, a half-time or part-time, and they think they're going to get those, you know, their first transaction in the first 6 months. Sometimes it doesn't happen. You have to be in it full-time and give it your full-on, because it is a full-time job. Your lead generation, you know, obviously you guys are familiar with lead generation, you know, building up your pipeline, building up leads, marketing and whatnot. It's a full-time job. So, you know, it's a full-time marketing job technically. And there's marketing and services, if you want to put it like that in a nutshell. So you always want to market yourself. You want to make time to go to events and whatnot. And sometimes if you have a job of 5 to 9 or 5 to 8 or whatever job, 5 to 6, 5 to 3, whatever hours you guys work, 10 to 1, 10 to 2, late hours, that's going to take away valuable time from what you can be doing to create leads and create business in real estate. So you really want to, if you're thinking about considering getting into real estate, you do want to get in there full time. And why full time? Because you have a better chance of succeeding. There's a lot of people who have their license, right? Everybody probably knows somebody who has a real estate license in this room. You probably know either your auntie or your sister or your grandma or a friend of a friend has a real estate license, right? But I bet you most of them are not active. And they're doing it just to have it, do a deal here and there, whatever comes to them. Those guys are just trying to supplement their income. But if you truly want to be successful in real estate, you want this to be your primary source of income. That is the only way I see anybody succeeding in real estate. And as a real estate agent, most of the people that get in part-time don't get much. They don't close a deal for a year or 6 months or whatever it may be, and they say they ended up quitting. So they end up quitting, and when you ask them why, they're like, oh, I never got to close a deal. Real estate was bullshit. I thought I could get in and make money and whatnot, but they did not treat it as a full-time business. It is your business. You're not just an agent working for somebody. You're working for yourself. Everybody here knows it's all commission-based. So if you're not selling, you're not making money. So therefore, it is truly a business. And everybody who knows anything about businesses are, like a newborn baby when they start. You got to nurture it, you got to feed it, you got to teach it marketing skills, and you got to grow it. And naturally, it'll grow over time, and you'll be successful. So I've been doing this for about almost 5 years now, and most of my business now is, other than my online social media, it's referrals, word of mouth. I always get, referrals all the time because everybody I've taken care of in my last 4 years, I've taken care of them to the best of my ability, and they always refer me out. And it's just, I've got my name established out there. So, you have any questions?
Would you say referrals are, give it a percentage of your business?
I would say 45% at least. Yes. Right now, it's about 45% of my business is referrals. I'm sorry? How did you get picked for the houses? Okay, what do you mean? Like,
You have houses you sell, but how do you get them?
so how do I get them? Okay, so there's a couple of ways to get those houses. So let's say, for example, let's put the referral thing away, right? Because your referral, let's say, most of the times it's a done deal after the person meets you because they trust, John refers me to his friend, and because they trust John, they're gonna let me sell their property, right? Or help them find a property just because of word of John. So let's put referrals aside. So once you're lead generating and you're marketing and you get that, let's say, for example, you get that first call or that first lead, you want to call them right away. Call them or email them right away within, I don't care how late at night it is. If they call you or email you, you email them back or you call them back right away because they know you're there. So real estate, I would say, is almost a 24/7 job. I've done deals and sent in offers like at 3 a.m., 2 a.m. I've worked on contracts, stayed up late all night, 7 days a week type of deal. But once you've established yourself and you've gone through a whole year or two to where you can you have better time management, then you'll have a lot more free time. But you always want to be available. You don't want to be that person that says a lot of people, they have this cutoff hour at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, family time. They don't pick up their phone, and a lot of the times the people who you're helping purchase a property or sell a property, they have day jobs and they can't talk during work. So they're going to be calling you after 5, 6 o'clock or after their dinner or early in the morning. So you don't want to have any type of cutoff time either. But going back to your question of how do you get it, most of the people, they interview you. So you go in, I have this thing, do you guys have like listing presentations and whatnot? Do you know what a listing presentation is? Yeah.
I've never had to do them.
You've never had to do one yet? Okay. So let's say it's a person you don't know and you want to meet them, you want to impress them. There's a thing we have, you want to make a presentation. I have what I call, everybody calls it, it's called a listing presentation. So if you call me and say, hey, Kareem, I want to talk to you about possibly selling my house, I'll come to your house and pretty much tell you what I can do, what it's worth, and whatnot. And we have a consultation. You fill me out, I fill you out, and that's pretty much the process of how, I guess, in a nutshell, of how you are able to sell that house. Yeah. So, sorry, one thing.
What would you say is the typical cost for somebody that you don't know to try to get them to go with you? Like the time, like how much customer acquisition cost would you say it takes per person?
Are you talking about how much it costs to get that person to use you?
Basically, yeah.
Basically, I wouldn't say it costs much. Actually, I don't see it as a cost to talk to somebody. Basically, it's like kind of like a one-on-one interview. You say, Kareem, hey, come over here, and I want to possibly sell my house. Come to you. Really, you're not going to say it's not going to cost you much to drive out there, get to there,
I
then.
mean, like how much you put into marketing and trying to get
Okay.
these people.
So okay. So everybody. So you're talking about marketing budget, right? To build your pipeline and leads. Is that what you're talking?
If there's to say there's a total cost of
There is no total
per
cost.
person.
Gotcha.
give or
There
take.
is no total cost, okay? Because in marketing, there's an unlimited amount of marketing you can do. So obviously, you don't want to be stupid and spend $10,000 on everything and try every single little thing, right? So you're gonna identify what works and what doesn't. So I would say, it all depends on your budget, right? Some people that get into real estate don't have a lot of money. Some people do have a lot of money, right? So I would say you at a minimum have to probably use at least $500 to $600 a month in advertising. I would say at a minimum. The more the merrier, obviously. You're going to get more leads, more pipelines. You're going to touch people on different platforms and whatnot, whether you're talking about social media, whether you're talking about sending out mailers or whatnot. And so, like I said, it costs money for mailers, even it costs money for the stamps and whatnot. So it depends what kind of marketing campaign you go to. So it's like, I wouldn't say there's a specific number, but 600 to $1,000 is about a good starting number if it fits within your budget. And I would obviously make it higher. So good rule of thumb, I would say in real estate and possibly towards almost any other type of business, you want to use 20 to 30% of your income back towards advertisement and marketing. 20, that's my rule of thumb. 30, I do a whole 30%. 30% of what I make goes straight back into marketing and advertisement. So whether it's entertaining a client, it goes, it's just a fund that I have, whether it's entertaining a client, whether it's I want to tackle a neighborhood and send out mailers, or I want to go, there's a bunch of new shopping centers that are coming up, and I want to, possibly talk to them, send out mailers to them, talking about leasing it out for them or selling it, whatever it may be, So you just want to have that, always have money to advertise, especially at the beginning. So yeah, how about we take some questions? Let's do some Q&A for about 15, 20 minutes. Anybody have any questions?
Can I ask what work would you with?
I work, I'm actually a partner, so it's called Garbia and Associates. Garbia and Associates. G&A Realtors for short. Mm-hmm.
I have a question. If I went to be a real estate agent, where would I go to study? Kind of walk me through the process.
Sure. Okay. So if
I
you,
want to take your job.
it's not going to happen.
I don't have anything to do with it. So I definitely want to be my own real estate.
So anyways, so pretty much the process is you need to obviously do courses because you need to get licensed. So there's certain numbers of schools you can go to that's accredited. You can do it fully online. You can do it in class.
It's an online place to do it.
Online, there's two.
Sometimes, like, at the Business Society, our mission statement is to help people
Yes.
basically who have no such experience. I don't have any experience in real estate
Sure.
outside of being
Of course.
property owners, but so tell us, like, what's a good online place
So
for a working mom?
I would tell you go to Champion School of Real Estate is my personal favorite, and you can look it up. It's probably about, I would say about 85 to 90% of people in DFW would tell you the same thing. Champion School of Real Estate is just a very easy, informative course, whether it's online or in class. It's probably one of the most informative, and you do continuing education. So I've tested out other online platforms like Kaplan and whatnot, and I've come back to ultimately keep using Champion School of Real Estate. It's a little bit pricier, but you're going to get more out of it. You're going to get your money's worth out of it.
How much
So.
does the course cost?
So the course, so there's a total of, I believe, it's still 6 courses, right? Okay, no, so nothing newer to get it. So it's a total of 6 classes. It's about, I think it was like $1,500, about depending on, it was less.
Whether you do in class or online.
Okay, in class,
Pricing.
how much was your
This
class?
class is like $9.45 for the package deal for all 6 classes.
Okay, I paid $1,500 because I got extra classes on top of that 6 classes. So that's why it was $1,500 for me. But your basic, so it's about $1,000. She just did it recently. It's about $1,000 to $1,500 to get it started. Usually it comes with all your books and your material and everything you need.
Do you have a preference or recommendation online, or like do you feel like going is?
Well, it depends what kind of,
beneficial?
it depends what kind of, on your time schedule, what kind of learner you are. If you are, yes? Two years. You have to renew every 2 years. And you got to keep taking continuing education courses. So it's not just your 6 classes. You have to keep taking continuing education courses, and every 2 years. And then you have other MC course hours that you have to take every 2 years. So it's just, you're always in constant renewal and continuing education. So it's never just that 6 classes and you're done with it. You have to keep continuing education. So.
What's your experience? Which one is better, the in-class course or the online?
So when I'm a person who learns in class better. So I took, I'm sorry?
So it depends on the person?
It depends on the person, yes. And your time schedule. Do you have a full-time job that would restrict you? So here's a good thing about Champions. They do hours that are after work or earlier in the morning. So they really make it easier for you to attend, or you can do them on the weekends. They do weekend courses. They're a little bit more intensive, but it can get you the job done. If you're more learning in class, then I'll tell you to do it in class. I did it in class personally. Now I do all my classes online just because I know enough and I've done enough to where sometimes I don't even read the material and I just take the test. So it's just saying, but I personally like going in class because there's always going to be questions you're going to have, and those teachers are going to always. I learned a lot from going in class. There's always going to be questions you're going to have that the computer is not going to be able to answer, or they might be able to answer if you look it up, but every person, all the instructors have been in real estate I think they do a minimum of 10 years of experience if you have to be an instructor over there at Champions. So everybody there is very knowledgeable. They're great people, and you're going to learn a lot.
How long is the class?
You can make it as long as you want to. You can finish it. I think you can finish it up if you do it in class, I think you can finish it as quick as 3 to 4 weeks.
I think 2 weeks. You can finish as quick
2 weeks? Okay, so now it's 2 weeks before. Okay, yeah. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
the everyday, literally.
Yeah, okay. If you do it every day, I think it depends what schedule, what time of the year you follow, right? So mine the quickest I could have done was probably 3-4 weeks. I think I did it in 3-4 weeks. You can do it fairly quickly, depending if you take it online or in class or what your schedule is. Yes? Sorry, do you mind sitting up a little bit over here? I can't hear you. I wouldn't tell you just to limit yourself into one area. I would tell you to market yourself and it was working in every area you can in DFW. But obviously with that comes responsibility of you learning and being knowledgeable about all the areas if you're going to market at. So if you're going to market about DFW, all over DFW, you're going to have to be knowledgeable about property and market trends in Fort Worth and in Frisco and in Plano, Richardson, the Colony. You have to educate yourself and keep up with marketing trends. So whatever area, I wouldn't tell you just to focus on one specific area. I've done deals all over Texas. I've done deals in San Antonio, Houston, Austin. So I wouldn't tell you to just limit yourself into one specific area or neighborhood. A good thing to start with would be the neighborhood you live in or the neighborhood around you, just because you're probably more familiar with it and you probably know more people in your neighborhood or the neighborhoods surrounding. So that's a good place to start from. But I wouldn't tell you to say, hey, I'm a Plano specialist or Richardson specialist or East Dallas specialist. I would tell you to market yourself as all over DFW. And it's really not that hard or that overwhelming for the market trends for you to learn. As it's very consistent. Texas is a very strong economy, and obviously you're going to have certain pockets of Dallas that have more expensive properties versus other pockets are going to have dirt cheap properties. So I would tell you to educate yourself more and tell you go after everything in DFW. So that's my advice.
For realtors starting out, would you recommend? Because you have to be a realtor for 2 years before you can become a broker and take the test.
I think it's 4 now.
It's
Yeah.
4. Okay. So would you? I guess by 4, you would already have that experience to go ahead and do it versus waiting until you get a certain amount of clientele or.
Okay, I'm sorry. Repeat your question again. Okay, so
would you recommend straight when that mark hits for a realtor to go ahead and take the test and become a broker, or for them to wait until they get a minimum number of experience in years?
Okay. I wouldn't tell you. Okay, don't refrain from getting your broker's license. Just because you have your broker's license doesn't mean you have to start your own brokerage and branch off. You can still be something that's called an associate broker, which means you have your broker license, but you're still technically kind of sponsored in under another company. But I would tell you. It depends because you have to be established in many ways, not just a transaction base. You're going to have to be networked into the real estate industry, and you're going to have enough people that are going to want to come to you and come with you when you open up your new office. So it's a number of things that mixed it in, and you're going to know when you're ready. It's really hard to open up your own brokerage. It's not a really easy thing to open up doors and thinking people are going to come in. This is really competitive right now in DFW, especially that you have a lot of transactional-based brokerages. Like, I don't know if you've heard of JP and Associates or whatever, but there's transactional-based. Like every transaction, you get like $500 or whatever of your commission. But it's really competitive. So. Do get your broker's license. Don't refrain from getting your broker's license because it's always great to have a broker's license. But you know, there's more than just a factor of I have done this amount of transactions. I can open up my brokerage. It's about who you know around you in the real estate industry that will follow you there.
So on the subject of brokers, what's the difference between just being a licensed agent versus being a licensed broker?
Okay, so a licensed agent means that you are under a broker. So technically the broker is the head honcho and they sponsor you. They're pretty much responsible for guiding you and training you, and any type of screw ups, it's on technically your brokerage, you and your brokerage. So they're pretty much like your legal mentor because you don't want just somebody who just got their real estate license just jumping in without somebody, you know, supervising them. So basically I would say they're your supervisor.
So on the paperwork side and the financial side, what's the difference in the responsibilities?
So the paperwork side and the financial side. So let's say the brokerage, so the good thing about opening up a brokerage, right? So let's say you guys are all 4 agents and I'm a broker. So the financial benefit for me is when you're licensed, let's say example, you guys are coming in, you guys are joining my doors, you're coming through my doors and you're joining me, right? So you're going to be under my brokerage. So the positive is that for the money side, financial side, is as a broker, anybody who's under you, you get a specific percentage that you agree upon with your broker of their transactions. So typically it's like a 30, like when a new agent, it's like 30-70 split or 80-20 or whatever it may be that you work out. And also it depends what the brokerage provides for you. So it's not just the knowledge. You also have to give them the knowledge and the tools necessary to succeed. So that obviously there's a lot of brokers. There's thousands and thousands of brokerages out there. You just have to identify who's going to help you succeed the most.
How would you identify who would be?
By interviewing with them. So interview with as many brokers as you can. I would tell you as soon as you get into, when you're even before you finish your real estate license, don't be scared. And see, a lot of people have these prestigious experiences. Funny because a lot of these real estate firms act like they don't need you, and they're trying to say, oh, we'll think about having you on, but they really want you there. People are just trying to scare you. They really need you. They want to sell themselves to you or whatever. People get turned off from that. But it's up to you. If you like more cultural, like let's say for example, you want more culture in the company, you're going to feel that from your brokerage if it has more of a culture or more of a corporate feel, and you'll feel that from your interview. So interview as many brokers as you can and ask them what they can do for you. It's not what you can do for them, it's what they can do for you.
Give me some tips. What would be good to ask? Like, I'm coming there, fresh agent.
Yeah.
What would be a good thing to feel about them? I don't have
Sure.
industry experience.
Ask them about their training programs is the number one thing I would ask them for. How are they going to train you to get your leads? That would be my most important question. And second, I would follow up with what kind of resources are you going to provide for me? Are you going to send me leads, or are you going to put me on a team? Is it just do I have to feed for myself and generate my own leads? I can give you a list of questions. I'll take your email and I'll send you a good list of questions to ask. If anybody else wants it to, just give me your contact information. I'll send you guys emails and whatever questions you have. Yes?
I'm kind of piggybacking on her. So, not so much me, but for the new people, when you go into a brokerage, you personally, did you have a mentor? How did you learn the business? Because I know schooling and actually getting in the field are 2 different things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did you learn it? Did you have a mentor?
Yes, my broker mentored me as much as he can, but I have a problem with authority sometimes. So, so I take what I can from him, You know, I took what I could from him at the beginning. I asked him questions and whatnot. But basically, I don't want to discredit my broker because he held my hand and helped me out a lot. I would say a lot. But I'm just a different working style. Like I'm just the type of person who likes to take charge on my own. So I would do my own thing, but I would always have him on hand, and he would always guide me and help me. So obviously, you have your meetings with your brokers, and which I still do to this day. Sit down with my partner. We go over our yearly goals. We do quarterly goals and whatnot. We sit down every quarter and say, hey, you know, I haven't met my quarterly target. What am I doing, or what can I do to meet my quarter or go above it? So you always want to have the collective brainstorming, to put it. So our culture in my office is don't be afraid to ask any questions to anybody. So we all help each other out. You know, we have. So I have private offices, but I never sit in my private office. I always sit in the open space that we have in our office. And I'm always talking to people and always helping people. So I'm always trying to train people and help people because, you know, they succeed, we all succeed. So that's another thing to look for in when you're asking a brokerage or when you're interviewing a brokerage. If you are motivated by competition, or are you going to be motivated by people helping you? Because some people are very motivated in sales by competing with other people, but I mean, it works out and it doesn't work out, especially when you're starting. It's very discouraging. It can be discouraging or encouraging depending on how you take it, but that just wasn't the environment for me. So it's like, I like the more family culture in whatever I do.
On a different note, because we talk about just real estate, but what about other sides? Not how you call it, just selling houses, but commercial real estate and property management. How would you get experience in those areas? How would you even start out?
Okay, so you really have to jump into it, I would say, because commercial is a whole other animal, but you shouldn't be discouraged from trying out commercial real estate or getting into it. So the number one thing you want to do is educate yourself. Anything you do, and this applies to everything, you need to educate yourself about commercial real estate. So you know, you can do your CCIM or whatever. There's a lot of commercial real estate courses that you can take. And commercial real estate, there's a lot of different types of commercial real estate. So there's very specialized courses in whatever kind of real estate you're trying to sell. And I would tell you to educate yourself as much as you can about commercial real estate, and then jump into it. But as far as getting into it, you really have to network and market yourself just the same way as you would do in residential.
So that sounds like the best way probably would be through a mentor.
To start, yeah, I would recommend you going through a mentor. Yeah, that's a great thing to do. It's probably one of the best things you can do is go through a mentor. Any other questions, Brian?
Two questions.
What's up, Brian?
For as an associate broker, does
Okay.
your commission rate get adjusted up because now you're no longer there? Is that different, or are you still getting the?
No, it's different. It's different. It's different, and so it's different, and it's not different. So it just depends what you work out with your broker or partner. So it just depends. But it does. Yeah, you do keep more of whatever you make.
Okay, and the second is, maybe it's just my sales side, or maybe it works for you. Why don't a lot of real estate agents maybe just link with a whole lot of loan officers or that work at these major companies, and you know, maybe it's Chase, maybe it's Wells, and you basically tap those resources because they're getting all the people that's coming in. Like, is that just not a strategy that people?
No, that's a strategy that a lot of people try to take, but it doesn't always work out. So it really doesn't. You're in loan officer, right? So it works and it doesn't work, right? So it depends, because there's you know, he's gonna, let's say for example, he has this guy that he definitely gives his leads to and whatnot, but it's you finding that person is a hard thing to do, because you know, he's gonna want to trust you. He's gonna like, if let's say for example, I come to him and like, hey, you know, obviously I have a relationship with him and say, hey, I want you to start referring me your leads, and you refer me, you know, we refer each other leads, right? But I want 100% of your leads. What do I have to offer? Do I know, like, he has to see that I can close my deal, and I have to see that he can close his deal. So sometimes it works to where they get a lot more leads than we do, or I'm getting a lot more leads than he does, and I'm referring more, and he's not referring more. So sometimes it just doesn't work out. A lot of people try to do it, and it doesn't work out. Some people do it, and it does work out. That is a good strategy to use. So I have probably like 2 people that I work with, one in residential and one in commercial, that I refer them leads and they refer me leads. But sometimes you can't always refer. Another thing is I deal with a lot of cash clients. Like I deal probably about like 30% of my 30 to 35% of my transactions are cash every year. So because I have a different market that comes to me than a lot of other people. I would say I deal with a very good international clientele. So they deal with a lot of cash. So sometimes I can't refer that person or that loan officer, and they're not getting much out of it. And some companies have different policies of referring their their leads out. So what about you? Why don't you tell us about yourself?
I was gonna say it can work. Like you mentioned, it just depends. I've got some agents who send me several leads, but only 1 or 2 out of those 10 works.
Yeah.
Because either the finance is not squared away, the credit score really low, and a lot of agents don't want to give you pre-qualified first before they start showing houses to the buyer.
Yeah.
So hey, look, how about you call them? I have a loan officer, get it pre-approved, and then once you get pre-approved, we'll start showing you houses. Don't call me, and then I go into credit, and it's not good.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, depending on what it is, I might give them some advice. Hey, look, do this. Maybe the next month or 2 or 3 months, come back. And if they do, then I refer that person back to that agent that referred it to me. So it can work. It can work, but like you said, I mean, it's a give and take.
Yeah.
So you just got to trust that agent to give you good leads, and you got to trust that loan officer to return the leads as well. And there's certain programs that one loan officer might have that others don't. For instance, our company, we just started one for teachers. So it's Teacher Appreciation this week. So there's one incentive that they get $500 off their appraisal, and then they get $500 for their classroom. So you might go to another loan officer, another bank, and they don't have that incentive. So you're like, oh, you know what? I got this teacher. I'm gonna send him to that incentive. Or I have some other program that's better for Chase or wherever it may be. I will tell you, as far as the big banks, Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they tend to take a little bit longer to close on a deal.
I hate those
Versus
banks.
a smaller branch, they might take, like for us, our average close time is 21 days. And we're about to start in June, maybe going down to about 12 days.
Yeah.
With new thing going on with Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae.
Yeah.
So that's the thing you have to look at is when you're talking to a lender, what's going to be suitable for your client.
True.
And especially if it's a cash deal, then of course you may want to do that. If it's someone who's got, buying a house at $1.5 million, maybe that lender, their
Can do
interest rates
jumbos.
don't have that type of program, so you better go out with another lender that has for the 1.5 million homes. And this lender is more money like 300,000, 200,000, or whatever, jumbo loan or whatever the case may be. So there's different programs.
Yeah.
You can kind of market yourself to particular lenders, and they'll give you the business back.
Yes,
Why
that's
I
true.
was buying cash.
Yes, he does.
International
That's
client.
why I love him.
Skip the loan process. Into the
But yeah, it's exactly like he says. Every mortgage or lender has their different programs that they have to offer. Some of them don't do jumbo. Some of them do jumbo. Some of them have better interest rates. Some of them don't. It just really depends. Some of them cannot close on time. Some of them can close really, really quickly. So it just depends, how you fill them out. And like I said, I hate working with clients that use Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. I hate working with those banks because they are not local and they don't understand that we have to close this deal on time. And they're guys that are not even local in Texas. They're probably working in New York or Michigan, wherever they're working. Their corporate, offices are. So it's just like that. You don't have that personal connection too. So like, what was your name again?
Edgar.
Edgar. So Edgar, I know he lives in Dallas. So if he screws up my deal, I know I can go show up at his office. I can go show up to his office. Or if he's not getting shit done and he's not answering my calls, I can go to his office. Edgar, what the fuck? We're supposed to close tomorrow. What's going on? Where are my closing documents? So I can go after. That's why I personally try to work with local lenders. This is because I can physically go after them. And I do that. I have done that. I'm not saying I've gone and threatened people or whatnot, so don't mistake me. So, but I have gone to, a lender's office and say, he hasn't been responsive to me, or, he's dropping the ball. I have gone there in person to talk to them, and that usually shakes things up and changes the whole game, and they're usually on track after that. But sometimes we have to babysit it, and you probably know, and you've probably done that yourself. But,
Piggybacking on yours is, like you said, a lot of the big banks, you call 800 number, you speak to
Uh-huh.
a different person, that pull up your account, see what's going on. With more local banks, in-house underwriting, in-house processing. So I mean, I just walk next door to my processor and ask them a question, and come right back and answer your question, or email or whatever. So that's one of the things with local.
Chase, Wells Fargo, they're a good bank for business banking or personal banking, but as far as loans for housing, they're not the greatest banks. I know Chase is trying to change up their game and whatnot, but they're probably going to take a while to catch up. There's still lenders that can close. Like I said, he's trying to close in 12 days. So, I mean, I've seen, anywhere from, the quickest close I had was probably I think it was 18, 19 days on a financing deal on a residential, but that's really good for 12 days. It's amazing. So, people, and that helps you. So we're in a seller's market right now, right? So it is a very competitive market. You're going to have, I would say anything below $400,000, you're going to have to bid against another person to get that house. So, right? So if we're talking, you're going to have to bid against probably 10 to 30 people. I've seen 45 people make an offer on one house before. And who's going to win ultimately? The person who can close the quickest, and usually it's the cash buyer. So these guys are offering loans that can close in 12 days, will give your client the advantage to close quicker and ultimately move you at the top of the list when the sellers are coming to consider your offer. So when it comes to residential. So that's a great program to have too, and puts your buyer to advantage.
Because I get a phone call every day for somebody wanting to sell my house.
Yeah.
Problem is, and they're like, it's a seller's market, blah blah, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And you'll never get as much, equity as you have now, and all that good stuff. Thing is that, if I sell it, I still turn around and have to buy something else.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like a switch game.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, but you should put yourself on a 100 do not call list, and you'll stop getting those calls. They legally can't call you. He'll probably stop a lot of calls. But yeah, you get these people who are trying to get after you for business. Yeah.
Sell it, get you a little something for $6, and then get you something else. Keep on flipping.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Keep on flipping.
But you do
I
ultimately.
used to do it with Pokemon cards all the time. You start off with original Pokemon, one of the fresh ones, and then you keep on, kind of flipping those cards. Next thing you know, you got one of the holographics. That's how
I just hate moving too much for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to you. I mean, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to.
Yeah.
If you're expanding, depending on what's going on in your family, I mean, maybe your family's growing, or maybe now you want a 3-bedroom instead of 2-bedroom, or you want to downsize, whatever case may be. We have, all lenders have it, a structure where as you're closing your house, you're purchasing, you're closing the deal on your new house. So same day, in the morning, you go and sign the paperwork, your house is sold. Afternoon, you're signing your paperwork to the house you're moving into already.
Mhm.
So you can do that. It's just up to you as a seller if you want to do that and you want to buy another house, either upsize or downsize.
Yeah.
whatever
Everybody
case
has a
may be.
different reason to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either they sell because they're moving, their
School district,
kids.
or,
Yeah. Yeah. Their kids are growing up. They want a better school district, or their kids have gone away and they're looking to downsize and relax. There's millions of reasons why people sell their houses. So those guys are just trying to finesse you.
So you say 500 plus kind of puts you in the game of maybe 1 or 2, whereas anything below 500 is multi-offers.
Well, I would say below 4. It depends on what area you're in also. So you can't just say, so there's specific areas that they're only above $600,000, $500,000, $600,000. So it just depends which area you go in and which market you're in. So let's say, for example, DeSoto or Denton will be a lot slower than Plano or Richardson, because where it's located. So you can't say that. It's not just a completely general saying, I guess. You can.
Less people that's going to have that type of money.
Yeah, and then you ultimately eliminate people. So you're going to have, let's say, 100 people that can afford a $200,000 house, and then when you come to 500, you're probably going to have maybe 30 or 40 of those people. So you automatically eliminate people who can buy. So that's one of the things. Any other questions, guys?
Where we moving to, Brian?
Still in Cedar Hill. Trying to move up.
Okay, well, that was all for today. Thank you guys for coming by. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Happy to help you guys.
Well, guys, one more time for the developer, please.
If you need another lender, let me know.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll take your card after this. I like that 12-day closing time.
As you can see here at the Business Society, every single day, typically Monday through Friday, we're going to have free seminars in which you can come in and obtain information from industry professionals such as Kareem, such as the chairman himself. We also have Miss Legal for the People, who's sitting there in the back. So next week, Jennifer will actually be launching her free seminar to ask, where you can come in and talk to her about legal questions that you may have. They're going to be, obviously, for legal purposes, general responses, but at least it gives you an opportunity to dive more into what business law is all about, creation of entity formations. She also does some estate planning and different things like that, and she is our in-house corporate counsel. So definitely take advantage of these free seminars. Very important for everybody to gain knowledge for free. It doesn't happen in the market, let me tell you right now. Kareem just probably shared, $15,000 to $20,000 worth of information. But hey, you know what? We at the Business Society feel like education is power. It's a key for your success, and so we're going to do that. So again, we thank you all for coming out. This is the developer. I am the chairman, John H. Dixon III, and good night.
Oh, one other thing. Hold up. Who's coming tomorrow so we can let them know? John. By the way, he's
so tomorrow.
He's also the congressman, guys. So he's also running for Congress, guys. I want to give him a round of applause. You want to tell him the district you're running in?
Kareem, I'm not going to disclose that information at the moment. What I can tell you is that just as a simple platform, I believe that our country is broken. I believe that we don't have enough bipartisan leadership. I will not be running as a Democrat or a Republican. I will be running as an independent. Just growing up, when I was younger, my parents were Democrats, so I was a Democrat. When I got older, I figured out I had more Republican views. And I don't like either party currently at the moment. I think as we all progress now and we see ourselves day to day, we look at our kids, we look at their futures, there truly is a new millennial movement that's out here that's starting to really shape the policy of this country, and I'd like to be the leader that kind of bridges the gap for all people, So I'm very excited about the opportunity to run for Congress. I'm not the perfect candidate, but I am the people's candidate, and so if you want your voice to be heard, vote John H. Dixon III, people. All right, perfect. Kareem, and we're done.
Thank you, guys.